Hey there, you ugly woman. Fetch me some jelly beans, will ya?
Karen? It's me, your mentor at school. Don't you recognize me?
So what? I need some jelly beans and some other stuff. Go get it.
I just want to say hello, but you're being really rude right now. To the story. We don't serve dinner, lady. My husband and I went on vacation somewhere in Asia a few years ago. It was the lean season, so the restaurants were mostly empty. We went out for dinner in one such restaurant. When we got our orders, the waiters retreated to the back of the house since there weren't other dinners around. And I guess they weren't expecting more. In the middle dinner, an elderly white couple, husband and wife I assume, entered the restaurant and proceeded to our table. The woman mumbled something to us. I didn't look at her since we didn't have any business with them, plus we were enjoying our dinner. Then she repeated in an irate tone,
"Excuse me, can we get some menus?"
I just glared at her because I was quite offended. My husband and I are Asian, and she automatically assumed that we were the servers, even though we were in like casual outfits. I was wearing a romper, he was in a t-shirt. We were both in flip-flops, and we were clearly eating. Her husband tried to hold her back, but she snapped back.
"They are ignoring me."
I don't think they work here," he said, apologizing to us. Luckily, a waiter appeared and led them to a far-away table. We walked past them on our way out. She was still scowling at us as if we were the offenders. The husband was sweet though. He apologized again. You know, life is unfair because I've read so many stories about idiots like this that have a nice and decent partner, like always. To the second story. He is supposed to be setting an example. This story doesn't fit with the retail environment of these threat stories, but I've noticed a theme of deserving entitled receiving the karmic comeuppance. So I submitted this for your consideration. Years ago, when I was attending Naval Nuclear Power School in Orlando, my best friend and I were involved in an incident at the Navy Exchange on base. It was payday, so after class, boyfriend and I headed over to the exchange to cash our checks and pick up a few things. The exchange was part of a cluster of shops with a covered area connecting them. With the blazing Florida sun that day, there was quite a crowd gathered in the shaded area. As we were headed for the door of the exchange, we saw a well-dressed, late middle-aged woman carrying a large number of packages trying to get through the door. Why she didn't have a card for all of her packages, I have no clue. Boyfriend and I each grabbed one side of the double doors and opened them up for her. Just as she's coming through the door, a lieutenant comes charging through, nearly knocking her off of her feet and setting her packages flying. The lieutenant joins with a cluster of other junior officers having a BS session. I catch the woman's arms to steady her, and once she's regained her balance, I run to get a shopping cart while BF starts gathering up her packages. When I return a moment later, we put all of her packages in the cart and present it to the woman. She gives us a huge smile and thank you. Boyfriend is a bit of a smart mouth and sees that the offending lieutenant still BSing with his buddies. He pitches his voice loud enough that he's sure the lieutenant will hear and says, "Our pleasure, ma'am. Some of us don't require an act of Congress to be gentlemen." Even though I'm laughing at this verbal barb, alarm bells are sounding in my head. Sure enough, the lieutenant has indeed heard and is striding our way, red-faced and breathing fire. Boyfriend and I pop to attention, and he proceeds to ream us each a new one. I must admit, his command of profanity was impressive, and coming from a sailor, that is saying something. During this tirade, I noticed that the lady we assisted has pushed her cart over to another small group of officers, talking to them and pointing in our direction. One of the officers detaches himself from the group and comes striding over. I swear, I had never seen as many scrambled eggs, gold braid on a hat in my life. and his shoulder boards have 2 stars. It's the base commanding officer. OMG, we are done for now. Boyfriend and I are starting to reach for our IDs and getting ready to be put on report. He looks at boyfriend and me and says, "Gentlemen, thank you for assisting my wife. You may go now." We snap out of salutes and a brisk of "Yes, sir," and beat feet into the exchange. We look back through the glass wall to see the lieutenant standing at a very rigid attention while the admirer reduces him to a quivering puddle. I don't know what happened after that, but it's likely that he had very limited advancement potential and wasn't very happy with the choices of duty stations he had available to him. Well, you know what they say, there's always a bigger fish. The third story. Let this be a lesson. Context. This story is about my sister, who is very much into the goth scene. My sister is also a teacher, and for professional reasons, she tones down the goth for school, but still wears a lot of black and gothic jewelry to work. Now, on to the story. Last school year, my sister had a student teacher named June. June was a lovely girl in the classroom, great with kids, and my sister could tell she would be a great teacher one day. She got along with my sister well enough, but she thought my sister was weird, well, for being goth. But being in her 30s, my sister doesn't really care. Well, one weekend, my sister went to the mall with a couple of friends, looking like she came out of a Charlotte Brontë novel. In other words, really pale skin and dark makeup. Went into a candy shop and lo and behold, there's June. My sister went away from her group of friends and to strike up a conversation with June, and here is the interaction. Sister: "Hey June, how's your weekend go?" She was interrupted by June. June:
"Yeah, can you get me like 3 pounds of jelly beans and some items I cannot remember?"
Sister.exe has stopped working. She looks at the candy store employees who were wearing blue bright shirts and aprons with a store name on them. My sister looks like Morticia Adams. Maybe Weekend Brain? Sister: "June, it's me, Miss F, your mentor." June:
"Yeah, so?"
Sister: "You work in my classroom, at Catholic school."
June: "And your point is?"
Sister: "Well, it's me, Miss Franklin, not real name obviously."
June: "Again, so what? I need jelly beans and some items I cannot remember."
Sister: "Look, I just came to say hello, but obviously not. You are being really rude right now."
June: "How dare you? I go to fancy college and a student teacher at Catholic school. I'm getting the manager."
Sister: "Oh, sure, go ahead. I'm also going to tell the headmaster about this incident and your professor. God forbid you two run into any parents or kids outside of school." Sister walked away. She didn't email the headmaster or her professor, but did email June, telling her to meet her early on Monday morning. Monday morning comes around and my sister looks less like Morticia and more like Abby from NCIS. My sister is one of those who they are mad. She gets stone-faced, does not show any emotion. June comes into the classroom and all chipper and smiles, and my sister gets up to greet her. Sister: "June, we have a lot to discuss. First, did you not truly know it was me on Sunday at the candy shop?" June's face went white, but she didn't say anything. Sister: "Can you explain your behavior that day? Or is that how you're outside of the classroom?"
June: "I didn't recognize you at first, but when I did..."
Sister: "So you double down on your mistake and make a complete butt of yourself. You're lucky that I didn't tell the headmaster or your professor about this. Let this be a lesson. You never stop being a teacher outside of school. You may be the only adult your student may trust. If you act the way you did this past weekend, and that student sees you act like that, you have just broken that trust. Never do that again." June sobered up real quick after that. They finish up the school year, and my sister never saw June again, but she hopes that encounter that weekend taught her something. Well, my guess is that June learned to make sure OP's sisters never sees her again. The fourth story. I don't work here yet. I stumbled onto this page and was reminded of a story from a few years back. A bit of background. I was working for an Australian internet/phone provided in the complaints department in Australia. After a few years working in the call center, I saw an advertised role for sales assistant and assistant manager at a retail location close to home. I thought, why not? So I applied for the sales assistant role and was called in for an interview. As I'm waiting to be called in, I could just see a woman muttering angrily to herself waiting to be served. Insert cast of characters. Me equals to me. Owner/hiring manager equals to HR. And crazy tramp lady equals to CBL. HR comes out to me and says, "Thanks for your patience. We are ready for you to come through now." CBL starts screaming, "Are you dagging serious? I have been waiting over an hour to be served. How dare you cut the line?" This is a lie. I always arrive an hour early to any interview and was there before her. HR, "I'm sorry, ma'am, but he is not a customer and he doesn't work here. He's here for an interview." CBL, "I don't care. I want to speak to someone now or I'm gonna start breaking things." HR was starting to search for available staff, but we're all serving someone. Me, "I'm sorry, ma'am. I don't work here, but if you want, I'm more than happy to help what seems to be the issue." Insert crazy tirade about how company is crooked and it's stealing my money and cut my phone off, etc. Meanwhile, HR is just standing watching me. I ask HR, "Do you mind if I use a vacant PC to assist?" HR, "Haha, go for it then." I proceed to log in as I already have profile due to still being employed at call center. Turns out CBL has had overdue account and was not sent a bill due to moving and not updating her address, so her mobile was restricted until balance was paid. I assist her with taking payment and bearing her account, all whilst keeping this banshee from screaming. After she starts to calm down, she begins chatting and laughing as I'm helping her. It took roughly 15 minutes. Would have taken like 5 if she didn't spend 10 minutes yelling first. She says, "Thanks. Can I get your card so I can come see you next time?" Me, "Oh, I don't actually work here. I'm just here for an interview." She gives me a confused look, then she turns to HR. "I would hire him if I were you." After she leaves, I went into the office to begin the interview and was told the interview was no longer required. I was hired on the spot for the assistant manager position. So, if you're out there, crazy tramp lady, thanks to you, not only did I get hired without interview, I got senior role I didn't even apply for. A bit of a twist on "I don't work here, lady." Well done, OP, keeping calm and diffusing the situation. You totally deserved it. To the fifth story, made the mistake of wearing red. There's a fairly popular home/garden store in the UK where the staff wear red. I forgot about this till today. I had to go in and buy a few bits for my new flat, minding my own business and doing the whole wear a mask social distance stuff. Walking down the pet food section and I hear a voice. "Lady, excuse me, could you please help me?" She touched my arm, so that was pretty clear she was talking to me. I was wearing red and black, so I guess she thought I work here. I know a fair bit about pet care, so I was happy to help. Me, "What can I help you with?"
Lady, "What's the serving suggestion on these dog treats? I cannot read the packet."
Me, "Well, let's have a look." I read the packet, but it doesn't actually state the serving suggestion. Oh, it actually doesn't say. What breed of dog do you have?
Lady, "A boxer, but she is just a puppy."
Me, "Ooh, I love boxers. Personally, I would just give her one treat a day alongside with her normal meals. These treats are great for training. They can be broken up into smaller pieces. I use them a lot myself when training."
Lady, "Oh, thank you. Do you also have those toys where you put the food in them for the dogs to play with?"
Me, "Oh, I know the ones you mean. Yes, they're right here. I had one of these for my rabbit. She destroyed everything. So we had to get her dog toys to take her aggression out of. She loved these.
Lady, oh, how lovely. These look great. Thank you very much.
Me, well, no problem. Is there anything else I can help you with today?
Lady, no, I think that is all. Thanks. Have a good day.
I left and went to pay for my things, making a swift exit before I could get stopped by anyone else. Not the typical I don't work here lady, but it was nice to have a nice customer instead of the typical rude buttholes. I didn't tell her I don't work there. She was so kind and a little frazzled about the product, so I was more than happy to help. I didn't want to embarrass her or to make her feel bad if I said anything. I get mistaken for a shop employee a lot, which is weird because majority of the people in my town know me as one of the chefs at Gatwick, but when I'm mistaken for an employee, I'm always happy to help where I can. Like a lot more people should learn from OP. Always glad to help people as best as we can if they're respectful enough. On to the final story. Do not touch a crossing guard's stop sign. So this is a yes, I work here, just not what you think. First off, I'm female 34, a school crossing guard. You know the look. I have the bright yellow vest and big red sign. Even better, I won a matching yellow reflective hat when I embarrassed myself during my first training demo. Thus, I'm all kitted out. So just remember that the key color here is yellow. Now, recently, some big cellular companies started installing fiber optics beneath the ground near our school. And by near, I mean drilling and destroying the sidewalks like the ones I cross at. Like literally, I'm posted on having to dance around cones and not to fall into holes. So, naturally, there are lots of reflective cones, blocked off areas, and most importantly, big dudes in orange vests and hard hats. Anyways, it's a hot mess. The kids are confused, the parents are irate, and I'm running my butt off, but we are getting through it. The rush was hectic, but we found our rhythm and the crowds start to thin. Then, this one Karen parks in the bike lane and halfway in one of my crosswalks and right where the dudes are digging up the sidewalk. In other words, the worst place possible. Thinking she is just a mom trying to pick her kids. Not the way to do it. I rushed over, hoping my eyes looked friendly because my smile was hidden behind my mask. Me, afternoon, ma'am. I'm afraid I have to ask you.
Karen, you are seriously bad at your job.
Me, stop shorts. Come again, ma'am?
Karen, I've been watching you and you're doing it wrong. People could get hit because of you.
I'm beginning to panic because I'm very alert, but maybe I'm off my game? I start reviewing the few minutes that had passed, wondering if I made any big mistake. I've been covering my three corners fine, I let cars go fine, and managed watching cars go into a turning lane that was now used for incoming traffic without anyone dying, but I'm not allowed to direct traffic, so I'm thoroughly confused. Me, I'm so sorry, but did you elaborate?
Karen, I don't want excuses. I want you to do your job. You're supposed to let a certain amount of cars go at a time. And you're not even trying to keep the kids off the road.
Me, Then, I see my late stragglers approach, and by this time, I just wanted to ignore the lady that isn't making any sense. So I begin moving away so I can cross my kids. And this Karen, this scrawny beanpole of a lady grabs my sign. Or tries to take it, but my sign is my baby. No one grabs my sign. Me, whoa, ma'am.
Karen, I will direct traffic myself.
I start to catch on. Me, ma'am, please let go of my stop sign. I'm just trying to cross my kids. I'm not part of the construction crew. Somehow, she heard that. She also heard my kids rushing over to ask if I'm okay, calling me by my surname. Even parents are starting to call over to me to see what was going on. Karen turns white and lets go of my sign.
Karen, you work for the school?
Me, clutching my sign. Well, yes, ma'am.
Karen, well, you shouldn't wear the same vest.
Again, I'm in yellow, the crew is in orange. I look at my vest and then at two workers, then back at my vest. I was trying to be subtle, but then forgot that 5 years old or not, and one of my kinder scoffs at this lady. Kinder: a lady? She's in yellow? They're in orange? Even I can tell them apart. Yes, I love this kid. Karen blinks once, just once, then spins around and runs for her car, and that's it. Just runs from a sassy 5 years old. I wish I could have given this kid a hug. This is like a game show. Are you smarter than a kindergartner? That's it for today, fellow humans. Thanks for watching. Be sure to leave a like, comment, and subscribe. See you guys next time.